Hi, and welcome to Old Time Knowledge. Well, I got a comment from a viewer, and that's the reason why I'm recording this video. She reached out and she asked me if I would please do another video about preparedness. And I'm not going to say her name, but I'm just going to read her comment. She said, could you please do another video on preparedness and let us know what you think about all that's happening in our country? And when I asked her if there were any specific topics she'd like me to cover, she said, I'm interested in what you think the seriousness of the situation is as far as the food shortage goes, and how much we should try to stock up on. And what if the people around me come for food if they see me making hauls? I just started my pantry 3 weeks ago, and I'm afraid of what people may do for food because I live alone. I try to make my haul at night, but can't always do that. I'm really interested on hearing your thoughts on the food shortage and what we should be getting now. And how bad do you think this will get? Okay, so that's what she wrote, and that it touched my heart. I feel for her. I feel for where she's coming from. These are troubling times that we're living in, and the more you hear about it, and especially, I'm going to just say it, there's a lot of just panic peddling on YouTube right now. There's a lot of just fear mongering on YouTube right now, and I'm not going to get into that. While I think it's wise to be prepared, and I do think we should stock up, I don't think that we're, at a point or getting to a point right now where we're going to lose access to grocery stores for the next year. And I mentioned that in the last video about am I really a prepper, considering the fact that, I have a year's worth of food stocked up, but I don't keep years worth of food on hand. And, but there's people who haven't been in the habit of like having a really stocked pantry. They're not used to this whole concept of being really prepared. To this viewer, I want to say, and to anyone else who has been watching, my videos or anyone else's videos, I want to, first of all, tell you don't be afraid. You don't need to be afraid. You are already many steps ahead of other people simply by the fact that you are thinking about being prepared and you are trying to get some food stocked up so that you have, things that you can count on, even if we do have a bump in the road. How bad do I think things are going to get? I don't know. I think this year is going to be full of ups and downs. We might have another situation, like I've said before, like we did in March of 2020, where, everything sort of gets in some sort of a shutdown mode. You can't go and get your normal things that you'd be buying from the store. If you don't already have it, you might have to do without it for a month or two. That potentially could happen. If it were me, and I've mentioned this before in other videos, but if it were me, I would make the very best effort to make a goal of having 3 weeks of food stocked up. I've been ridiculed for that in other videos because some people think you're supposed to tell people to stock up for years, regardless of if they're starting at square one or not. I think that's nonsense. I think if you don't have a week's worth of food stocked up, aiming for 3 weeks is a great start. Once you have 3 weeks stocked up, just keep adding to it, but rotate through what you have. In other words, be buying things that you would be using anyway. Yes, you want to make sure that you're keeping things stocked up in your pantry. If you buy canned goods, those are going to be fine. You don't you can wait until you get at least 3 weeks or a month stored up to make sure you have enough on hand. That's what you want to do. And so at that point, then you can just keep adding to what you have and rotate through every now and then to make sure that you're keeping your things fresh. When you get new items, always check the expiration dates. I've seen a lot of preppers with all kinds of really great ideas about this. Some of them will write on the lids or on the sides of their packages with a Sharpie when the expiration date is. I saw a really cool video recently. The Urban Prepper mentioned using color coding. He uses little stickers, and he just sticks those on his canned goods and the items in his pantry so that he'll know when they're set to expire. in like a 6-month period, so that way he can make sure that they're using up the things that are going to be expiring first. I think that's such a great idea. And as you're able to build out and have more things in your pantry, just keep putting the newer things in the back so that the things that are in the front are the older things. This is just the same kind of thing that they do in the grocery store. When they restock the shelves, they put the newest stock in the back and then they pull things forward. And then there are those of us who go to the back and get the items in the back because we want things that have dates that are farther out. But in any case, that's something that you can be doing. As far as living alone, that's a reasonable thing to be concerned about. Where we live, it's myself and my mom and my son. I will say that we are a well-armed family. It would be a very unwise move for someone to try to invade our home or in other ways attempt to, steal from us or anything of that nature. It would just be a very unwise move. But not everyone is comfortable with having guns. Not everybody's comfortable, even having to confront someone in that case. I will say this, that unless you live in a city where, you're in an apartment building or something like that, or you live in a community where people live really close together, where there's a high likelihood that in desperate times someone might come to your house to try to steal what you have, that's probably not something you have to be super concerned about in the near future. I don't see anything at this moment on the horizon that makes me worry that that's going to happen. I know there are a lot of YouTube channels who will constantly tell you, anytime now, things are just going to totally collapse, things are going to totally fall apart. And I don't see it. I see a lot of talk about all of that, and I think a lot of it is political to distract from some other things that might be happening in the world of politics right now. There are some pretty big things breaking lately in the world of politics that the media is not covering. And I think we're going to hear about all kinds of distractions to keep us from having our eyes on that as that's going on. But as for you and your things, your life is worth more than food or what you have. So by all means, if someone does, if you're trying to bring things home and somebody, confronts you and wants to take food, first of all, that's a shocking thing. And I like I say, I have a hard time imagining that happening right now. But goodness gracious, if that happened, give them the food. Your life is worth so much more than that. If you're somebody who's comfortable with arms and who's comfortable, or with other things to defend yourself, you can do that. Personally, if I were bringing groceries into my house and someone confronted me, I'm not going to shoot them for trying to take groceries from me going into my house. There are a lot of other people who would feel differently about that. But, to me, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to get into that kind of thing over food. If somebody's trying to steal food, they need it. I don't think food is the kind of thing somebody's trying to steal because they're going to sell it, for some high dollar amount. Yes, things could potentially get to the point where food is so hard to come by that kind of thing could happen, but we're not there now. And right now, I don't see anything on the immediate horizon that looks like it's going to be like that. But some other things that you can be doing, though, is just so you'll be more at ease. First of all, don't store all of your food in the same place in your house. Your pantry is great, but it's also good if you have some things stored in other rooms, like maybe you might have some stored in your bedroom. Some people store things under their bed or in a closet. And I'm not saying a ton of stuff, but if for some reason, you did deal with someone coming into your house, they're not going to hopefully find everything. They'll go to your pantry, they might raid a few things from there, and then that's it. But again, unless you live in a bad neighborhood, I don't think that it's likely that you're going to have to worry about that. Again, it's always good to be prepared and think about what you would do in one of those weird situations if something like that were to happen. Pepper spray is great. There's all kinds of things that you could do if you're not comfortable having arms in your house. But another thing that you can be thinking about if you live somewhere where you do have a yard or some ability to grow food is please grow food. It's spring coming up just a few weeks from now. Like a month, a little over a month from now, it's going to be spring. I posted a video like this last year where I was encouraging people to start a garden now. Like February is the time here in the United States, especially here in the southern United States, where we're getting seeds started indoors and things to transplant outside when the last frost date hits. We might already be putting things out there and putting like clear plastic tubs over them to sort of be like a impromptu greenhouse. There's a lot of different things we can do. I'm going to link to the video in the show notes below talking about why you should have a garden, why you should start one now. You don't wait until an SHTF situation to start a garden. You have a garden so that you can learn and understand how that works. Gardening is not like a super easy, intuitive thing to do. It's not as easy as just you stick a seed in the ground and you watch it grow. That's if only it were that easy, but it's not. There's a whole lot of things to learn about, from the kinds of plants that you're wanting to grow, to the kind of medium you're growing it in, to the kinds of pests you might be dealing with in your area, to your growing zone, different diseases that might affect things where you live, things that might affect your plants based on your soil quality, for instance, blossom end rotten tomatoes. I mean, there's so many different things to learn, and YouTube is going to be your best friend in that respect. Absolutely. There are so many good channels. In fact, I will link several of my favorites in the show notes below, because you're going to learn so many things about gardening, and you won't know until you get started with it. So, my friend, I hope this video helps a little bit. Like I said, aim for having at least 3 weeks of food put up. Not just food, but also toilet paper, other household items that you need. And then just keep adding out from there. Then try to go for like another week at a time, and another week at a time, and another week at a time. And as you're able, if you can, get really large bags of some things, like 20-pound bag of rice, 8-pound bag of pinto beans. If you have a Sam's Club membership or anything like that, you can get those 25-pound bags of flour, and then, portion them out and put those in something that's airtight. There's a lot of different things that you can do. And before you know it, you will have food, so that even if things get bumpy for a while and you can't get out of your house for whatever reason, I think I mentioned this in an earlier video. My mom broke her leg a few years ago, and when she did, she wasn't able to actually leave the house, because our house is such that her part of the house is the main part of the house, which means she's upstairs. But with a broken leg, she wasn't going anywhere unless it was the doctor. And then it took a lot of help to getting her downstairs to go to her doctor's appointments. She wasn't going to the grocery store. I was going to the grocery store for her, and I was, helping take care of her and everything else. But you never know, if for some reason you would have some reason, even if it's not some sort of disaster that's happening in society, you might have some reason why you would just need to stay home and not be able to get out and do your shopping. So it's really good to know you have things on hand. Anyway, so again, I hope this helps. I hope you'll be encouraged, because I really don't think you need to be fearful. I think you're really wise to be stocking up, to be trying to, bring things home to make sure you have plenty to eat and all of that. It's going to help you against the inflation that we're seeing. I mean, goodness gracious, gas prices just keep going up, 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 up. If American truckers decide to protest like the ones in Canada, God bless them, if that happens, we're going to see some serious supply issues here in the United States. Won't it be nice to know that you have the things that you need, so that as we go through that, it's not going to be much of an inconvenience for you? These are the kinds of things that I'm all about prepping for. Again, it's not so much something where you need to be worried about being a year without being able to go to a grocery store. It's about those unexpected things that can happen that might keep us from being able to go to the store for weeks or even a couple of months at a time. But having what you need on hand is going to give you such peace of mind to know that you are going to be okay. So I hope this helps. And, you know, if any of you have any thoughts or comments, please leave them below. I love to know what you think. And if anybody has any other questions that they'd like me to cover, you just want to hear my thoughts on some things, I know I like to hear what people are thinking. You know, there's a lot of YouTube channels I watch just because I'm interested in people's opinions. So if you have any questions, just let me know what they are, and I'll do my best to answer them. And if I don't have an answer, I'll do some research. And if I still don't have an answer, then I'll say so. And, you know, I might record a video about what I don't know in hopes that somebody else might have an answer. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.